Hey everyone, my name is Candace. I'm back to tell you about my experience living in Argentina. So if you would like to live abroad someday and want to know somebody else's experience, stay tuned. So first, why did I move to Argentina? I've always wanted to live abroad, but it was because of love. I found somebody that I wanted to go down there for, and it was just the perfect opportunity to do so. I had a friend actually pay for my trip and tell me that I could pay him back. And I went down there, fell in love with it, and decided 3 weeks later that I was gonna move. So it was super spontaneous, but I have been manifesting it for like a year. I kept saying when I met this guy, like, I'm gonna visit him down in Argentina eventually. And I did it. So that's why I moved, but I've always wanted to live abroad. So I already knew Spanish before going down to Argentina, but I didn't really feel like it because the language is so hard to grasp when people were speaking quickly, and it was just a whole nother ball game than learning it in school. I learned a lot of Spanish. So I'll say like I was at a really good level of Spanish. I took Spanish immersion. In high school, I learned Spanish even before that in middle school, and I minored in Spanish in college. So I thought I was going down there with like the best Spanish, like not the best, but I was like, okay, I got this, like it won't be hard. But honestly, it took me so long to like grasp it and want to speak it and feel confident in speaking it. But I did live there for 4 years. So sí puedo hablar español muy bien, pero yes, I can speak Spanish really good, but I'm still not perfect and it will never be perfect, but being down there definitely taught me a lot about the language, and just like the way that the Argentines speak is so different, and I love having that like as one of my tricks up my sleeve now is speaking in un acento de castellano. So I really do appreciate what I learned down there, and also appreciate being quite humbled in the process. It was really hard to find friends in the first couple of months living there, but Facebook became my best friend for finding friends. Believe it or not, it wasn't Instagram, it wasn't TikTok, it was Facebook. This was 5 years ago, so maybe 6 years ago now, so it may be a little bit different, but I will hold to the fact that Facebook was the easiest way to connect with expats down in Argentina. There were so many Facebook groups available to me. So there was like an expat group for it was an expat group for people who lived in Argentina. There was a foodie group, and that's mainly how I met all of my really close friends in Argentina. I had a lot of friends that were from different countries, not Argentina. And then I had a lot of friends that were from Argentina just because of my relationship and just building it that way. Also, I babysat down there. I worked in a bar down there, so I found different friends throughout the journey. So it was definitely hard at first, but once I got going, I met so many incredible people. So I would just say, first find your little group and then it will expand from there. My Facebook message that I put out there, the first one, was just telling people what I liked and hopefully finding someone who fit that description of people that I liked. So I was just saying that like yoga, astrology, I like being outside, being in nature. And from there I met one of my very best friends, Tanya, and she reached out and we hung out 3 days in a row after that. So if you want to find friends, you can find them. Just look for them on Facebook is my advice. So the main cultural differences that I was able to find were, first, the nightlife was crazy. It was so much fun. I never lived in a big city before, so the nightlife was very expansive. There was so much for people to do. And then also it just ended so late. So usually parties would end around 4 a.m. and they would continue on until like 6 a.m. even later at their after parties. So it was very fun, but I don't know if I could ever live that life again. Although once I got there, I was a little bit like older. I was like 27, so I was already kind of past my party phase, but after the pandemic, I kind of just reawakened and I was having a blast. So you never know when a party phase can come back in your life. And then something else that I noticed about the culture that was super different was the sense of brotherhood amongst the guys. I feel like it's kind of like a foreign thing. But I just really love like how foreign guys really come together collectively and show each other support and show each other love and aren't afraid of like hugging each other and giving each other a kiss on the cheek. I think it's so sweet, and I just think it's something that American guys could adapt into our culture as well, but I don't think it's gonna happen. But that was a big culture difference that I saw as well. And then also just like the general acceptance of people. I feel like the people in Argentina were very accepting of me, always wanted to know more about me, always wanted to ask questions. I get the same thing here, but of course I looked very different from the people down there, so they always wanted to know more. And a lot of people accepted me into their homes, made food for me, kept in touch with me, so I felt very, very, very loved and accepted in Argentina. And then something else that I found was different was they didn't really understand racism, or at least they didn't say they didn't understand racism, just because it's generally one race there. There's not really any black people or any other races besides Argentinians, aside from like the expats. They do have like a Chinese community down there and a little bit of a Japanese community, but other than that, there's not really a lot outside of their own race. So they didn't have really a good general sense of racism, so I had to like talk about that with people a lot. And a lot of them were like, I just don't understand, but they were really accepting of me, so they just didn't really have experience with it a lot, which is something that I found very different from the USA. So the food wasn't my favorite down there. I found that there wasn't like a lot of variety within their normal meals, but when you went out to like their gourmet style restaurants within the city, they're amazing meals that you can get and for a good price. And also they're known for their steak and their wine. So there were a lot of asados. Asados are when people get together like on the weekends or at night and just cook on the grill, cook a lot of different meats, and they are amazing. So I would say to check out an asado. But also if you're going down there for the food, I wouldn't like put all the emphasis on the food, but I would definitely put some emphasis on the steak and also those gourmet style restaurants. Also a difference in the culture, I feel like they work to live and so not live to work. So I feel like they're enjoying life a lot better, enjoying life a lot more. They have a lot of feriados, which are holidays. So there's a lot of like holidays that people are traveling. Also they travel for a long time during the summer months. So I really like that about the culture and I miss it so much. So finding work was really, really hard for me down there. I applied to a bunch of jobs and went to some interviews and never got jobs. So I ended up doing nannying for a while, and I also worked at a bar until I discovered like online work and working like on Upwork, and eventually branching out into my own clients. So I'm a social media manager, and I wasn't really a social media manager before I went down there, but now I am. And it's all thanks to Upwork and just putting myself out there. So I would say try to go down there with the job if you are trying to travel abroad or live abroad, because it will make your life so much easier. All right, so that is it for today. If you want to learn more about my journey in Argentina or just living abroad, please hit the like, subscribe, comment, let me know what you're thinking and where you want to move, and also any questions that you may have about moving abroad. Thanks so much. Bye.